Hello, welcome to Baron's Game Room. I'm Aaron as always, and production quality in games is of some people consider to be a very big deal because, while games are not super expensive generally, and at the same time they're not generally super cheap and all that, the economy is not really getting any better right now. No one's really getting any richer, and while board games are still one of, in my opinion, the most cost-effective ways to give you the most bang for your buck when it comes to entertainment, you could spend $20+ even 30 or 40 sometimes, going to see a movie for 2 to 3 hours at a movie theater, or buying a video game for 60, 70 bucks that might give you 20, even 50 plus hours of entertainment if you're buying some of those big long ones. A board game, especially a well-made one, can be pretty much a lifetime of entertainment. I mean, there's a reason they call some of these things like heirloom quality and all that. Because back in the day when you made a lot of this stuff, games were generally made out of, nice wood and, tile and metal and all that, and they were kind of meant to be long-term things. Way back in the past, when you bought a board game, it was your family's entertainment. Buying a nice chess set way back when was basically the equivalent of buying a big TV these days. It was what your family was going to do for entertainment for night after night, day after day, year upon year. And production quality is obviously something that is still very important in games today. I can't say I'm above it. I mean, you see the expensive board behind me. I showed off in a few videos recently my beautiful Canassa here. Again, there was a more normal version that's made, a cardboard box and plastic pieces later, but I wanted the really pretty one and all that, I'm not above it. I've got my game Nemesis that we played just yesterday that's got, beautiful, highly detailed miniatures in it. There's my Mancala board that I'm so proud of. I could have bought a cheaper Mancala board. It's not like this one was that expensive, honestly. It's very reasonably priced, to be perfectly honest. But much more expensive than buying one for like $10 or less at Walmart. This was like $30, I think. So I'm certainly not above buying a beautiful game. In fact, I just got in today our luxury edition of Tsuro. Again, if you guys know what Tsuro is, it's a very casual game of playing down tiles and staying on the board and all that. I've got a video on my page to check out if you want to know about it. I believe it's partnered up with Secret Hitler. Funny enough, it was like a big group games video. But yeah, I already own the game, but we really love it. It's one of our favorite games around here, as well as, we're nerds who are really into the whole Chinese, Japanese, imagery and all that. We've got a lot of, woodblock painting art around our house and stuff. So this very much went with sort of the decoration of our house and all that, as well as, again, it's a game we really enjoy. So we ended up buying this much more expensive version of it to have around the house. And as much as I absolutely love my beautiful games and my high production quality games, at the same time, deep down inside, I recognize that none of that's really that important when it comes to games. Now, the production quality can affect, your game experience a little bit. No one wants to mess around with fiddly bits and all that and yada yada. And a good, nice game can feel good in your hand. It can make playing a little more convenient. But at the end of the day, I think all gamers will agree that what really matters is the game itself. Now, good production quality can always elevate a bad game up a little bit. Some fun gimmick or toyetic design to it. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's really the game that you're playing. If the game really sucks, then you're gonna have a bad time. My sister recently took a trip to Japan and brought us back some gifts and all that. And one of the gifts she brought us back was this tiny, itty-bitty little one-night werewolf. It's adorable. It's the small little just cardboard box. You open it up, and all it's got in it is a handful of these tiny little cardboard tiles. I'll be honest, the tiles are a little nicer than I thought they would be coming out of this thing. And it's so small. It's probably one of the smallest things I have. I mean, aside from maybe, I don't know, heads will roll here in its tiny little bag. And I immediately was reminded with this how much, again, it's not really about the packaging of it. It's about the game itself. And when translating the rules, all the rules are in Japanese. I know how to play werewolf enough, but I was looking for any, differences in this game in particular, or just, having fun, looking at the rules and translating them with a little Google Translate. I noticed Gashapon got mentioned several times. This is made by Bandai, and Bandai, I know, does a lot of stuff for Gashapon machines. If you don't know what that is, it's little quarter machines. When you go to the store, like a gumball machine or whatever, you put the quarter in, turn it or whatever, out comes a prize. It's within something like that. So, at least I assume, again, by all the Gashapon stuff, that it seems like that's where they got it. And I thought that was just so cool that there was a little board game experience, a good one. Werewolf's a good game. And a good little board game experience that you could get out of a little machine that probably cost you $2, something like that. Because I'm sure this wasn't just a quarter or whatever, or 50 cents. Even around here nowadays, for the crap that comes out of those, you can barely get stuff for a quarter or 50 cents. Most of those are even $1. But yeah, $1, $2 for a little game like this. Again, a good little game. A game that we've owned a larger version of for years and have played so many times. Again, I was kind of blown away at the realization of how much bang for your buck this little guy was. I mean, it's decent enough quality tiles and all that. The box itself is, again, just a little, cardboard box, but it's kind of a thicker cardboard on it. It's not super cheap or anything. The idea that you could buy this for like $2-ish bucks and just a kid have a lifetime of fun with this tiny little thing, that is an insane amount of bang for your buck. And I was really sad that, as far as I can tell, there's not more stuff like this here in America, I would love if, when my kid came back from trick-or-treat, mixed amongst all the candy and all that, I remember sometimes, you get little toys, those cheap little things you might pick up from carnivals and all that, little poppers, or maybe a sliding puzzle. I would absolutely love if in there was some tiny little game. Something that's very basic or whatever, doesn't need to be a big in-depth thing, just some little gaming experience that would be super cool, in my opinion. I would love to have kids that, because to me, when you try and compare a cheap little board game to a cheap little toy, I feel like board games win out. A toy can be played with by yourself and all. For a solo experience, toys are always going to win. But a toy is always going to eventually just end up being on somebody's shelf or thrown away. Honestly, the cheap ones probably going to break at some point if you're really playing with them and all that. But again, a little board game like this, if you're not spilling water on this, this is going to last long time. I mean, I unless we do some heavy play on this, I couldn't see these tiles wearing out to a point that you couldn't play this game for years. As long as the backs of the cards really stay clear enough and, don't get too scraped up or scuffed so you know what they are, the game's still playable. So I was so amazed, at this tiny little thing, and it really reminded me about how much the gaming experience is what it's all about, the game itself. And, if I knew a good way for us to produce something like this, I would. I really would. I would love to have a little line of sort of stripped down versions of games, small versions of games, use a lot of public domain stuff or whatever, and just have these available. It's not really something you could, I think, sell on its own. I don't think you could just have these on the shelf, people really buy them. Maybe they would because of how small they are, but I don't really know the logistics of how you would just get them as to those kind of big bulk bags. Again, like those party favor bags you buy at, like, the Walmart or the store or whatever. You can buy from Oriental Express, was like a magazine I remember we always had growing up, because my stepmom was a teacher, so she would like order stuff from there as like prizes to give out in class or whatever. And there were always the same kind of prizes you might see in like a little grab bag of prizes at like a doctor's office or something. And I would love to, if anyone has an idea, please take this idea from me, because I want this out there. I absolutely would adore to see more tiny little stripped down versions of games, just cheaply made, well made enough to be in little quarter machines, to be in little grab bag things at schools and doctors' offices and all that, to end up in people's trick-or-treat bags. It's something I really wish I could personally bring to the world, and if I ever find a way, I promise you I will. But also, please, I want the idea out there more than I want to be the person to bring the idea. If anyone has an idea of how to do that, if anyone's got the connections, please take me up on it. Because, yeah, at the end of the day, it's the game that matters. A beautiful game is just that. It's beautiful, it's great to have around, it's great to look at, it's easy on the eyes. Fantastic. But gaming is about the game itself. Print and plays are all over the internet. people make their own games at home like we do and all that, and you do it without trying to publish it. They just make it and play it. You draw some up a piece of paper and all that. Plenty of kids are out there doing that right now. And at the end of the day, deep down inside, I think all gamers would know that it's the game itself that matters. And I think having a way to introduce more kids to little board game experiences would be a fantastic thing. Plus, again, just how much value you can get out of this. Some family that doesn't have a lot of money, usually a kid can talk their parent into giving them $1 or $2 for something. That's usually not too big a deal. All right. And buying a board game, again, even the cheaper ones, can be a little expensive, especially, again, just for people that don't have a lot of money. Spending $20 or so on a game, while that is generally in the impulse buy range of games, that can still be kind of expensive for a guy that doesn't have a lot of money. But a little kid walking by a machine that's got a few of these in there can probably talk their parents into giving them $1 or $2 to get something like that out of it. And then, like I said, compared to some little toy, some little statuette you might get in a little machine like that, this could just give that kid so much more entertainment in their life. And I don't know, that just gives me a really good feeling. There really wasn't a point to this video other than just thinking this was really cool and wanting to pitch that idea out there. Seriously, if anyone out there has any access to it, please take this idea from me. Otherwise, yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next week. If you saw my last video about the carom board I'm working on, I'm still working on it. I just haven't gotten out to pour the epoxy on it and everything. So hopefully there's another video on that coming next week. Maybe. If not, with the baby stuff, we'll see if I get to a normal video next week or not. This was me finding something to film for you guys. Anyways, thanks for listening to me chat for probably way too long about a silly little gift I got from my sister. See you guys next time.